Hey everyone, it's Bob Crossan, Senior Managing Editor for Water and Waste Digest. I am joined today by Mahesh Budhathoki. He is a Senior Engineer for Suez Water Technologies and Solutions, and this is another one of our 2022 WWD Young Pros video interviews. Be sure to check out the playlist below. We've got every single young pro, barring one, I think, at this time, who's on that playlist. So be sure to check that out. We've got links to the Q&As down there as well. This is simply a snapshot of those Q&As, so there's a lot more information on each of them then. But let's talk to Mahesh.
Hey Bob, thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for being here. I appreciate you taking the time, man.
It's not a problem. Thank you so much, and thank you for the recognition. It was definitely a surprise, but I do feel honored for the recognition. Thank you so much.
Yeah, yeah. Congratulations, seriously. We had, I think, over 70 nominees this year, so to be one
Yeah,
of the 10 that we featured it truly is an accomplishment. So yeah, definitely give yourself a good pat on the back for it.
thank you. Yeah.
So why don't you tell me a little bit about your career trajectory? Like, how did you end up with Suez Water Technologies? Where did you start, and why water?
You know what? Actually, when I was at school, I hadn't planned to work for the water industry, right? Because most of my PhD work it was for the oil and gas industry.
Okay.
But after school, I got my first job with the industrial water treatment company in Memphis, Tennessee. And at that uh, job, I was mainly involved in the projects were related to boiler and cooling water treatment. And I worked there for a few years, but then because of my family, I moved to New Jersey and I started working for Suez Water. And at Suez Water, I'm involved in developing novel chemistries for the electric power and the refining and then the food and beverage industries.
Those are very interesting industries as well, and each of them very unique too. So to be working on the chemistries for each of them, I'm sure that
Exactly.
presents you like a lot of fun with the work that you do. Is there a certain element of your job that you really enjoy? Is it that like variety that you get from working in all those different verticals, or is there more to it than that?
You know what, actually, there is more to that. It's mainly, I mean, the thing that I enjoy the most is solving customers' problem, right? So that's the one that kind of motivates me because the chemistries, to see that, the chemistries that you build in lab, that goes to the field and eventually solve the customer's problem, that is the motivating factor here for me.
The most satisfying thing, right? To be like, I
Exactly.
solved that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure that we'll come back to that later
Yeah.
on in the interview, but before we move to there, you talk about obviously solving customers' problems.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell me a little bit about a project that you had that's really memorable or something that you are very proud of in terms of projects that you've conducted?
That would be my internship project. This project, this was I was leading this project, and it was about the feasibility study to evaluate the efficacy of the DSM's hybrid surfactants, and that was also for the oil and gas application. And this is memorable for me because I got to travel to the Netherlands for this work, and I lived there and worked there for 6 months, and it was very like fun experience for me. And also during that time, I was introduced or I got to know about Belgian beers, and they're the best beers in the world, So yeah, so
Absolutely.
yeah,
That sounds so fun, man, to
yeah,
live in another country, get a whole new cultural experience while also solving the problems that you really enjoy to solve, and then getting to learn how they make really great beer. I'm sure it's very awesome.
exactly. Yeah, yeah, they're the best beers, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, there's no doubt. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I am also a German major, so I studied abroad in Germany for a year, and I
I
totally
did.
agree with you. European beer is amazing.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, what are some of your aspirations you have in the water industry? Obviously, you're with Suez Water Technologies and Solutions right now. You're a senior engineer. It sounds like you've actually worked your way into that senior leadership position.
Yes.
Where do you see yourself going in the future, and what are some of your aspirations?
You know what? Actually, the water industry is very diverse, right? And then so far, I feel like I've only touched just like this much. So I would like to further expand my knowledge in this field, and eventually, I would like to be a industry expert or a consultant, and then help solve water-related problems.
Hmm. Are there specific goals that you'd like to reach to kind of make that happen?
Specific goals to make that happen. What do you? I'm sorry.
Yeah. Are there like steps along that you want to hit along the way to make that a possibility for you? Are there certain goals that you're setting for yourself moving forward, or are you just kind of doing your work and recognizing the goals that you're accomplishing along the way?
Yeah, I mean, actually, for that, I would say, I would. I mean, I'm R&D position now, right? So I would
Hmm.
like to learn more. So I would like to get out to the field more and then learn about how customers are, or what are the problems they are facing, right? So without knowing and without interacting with the customers, it sometimes it's kind of get hard. So
Hmm.
it's you feel like you are disconnected from the real world at times. So I mean, definitely step is for me in my career is to go out to and talk to these customers and they know what they are facing and then try to just go from there.
That's been an absolute challenge, I imagine, especially over this pandemic, of not being able to get to sites as easily as you could have before. But hopefully that changes for you now.
Yeah, for
Maybe
sure.
that's yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things we noted in your nomination form was that you provide some career counseling for youth in Nepal. Could you
Yes.
talk a little bit about that career counseling and like why you do it, why it's so important to you?
Well, like I mean, when I first moved to US, I was just 18 years old, right? So at the time, because I mean, I was here. I mean, it's mainly because of the culture, language, and then also the food and everything, right? So, but somehow I was fortunate enough to surround people around me who kind of supported me, mentored me, and then helped me to get where I am today. So, but not everyone gets that opportunity, right? So, and then also it is especially hard for the people who are kind of introvert people and who do not easily seek out for help. So the career counseling is my way to like paying forward, I would say.
You had mentioned that you had also had some support to in coming to the U.S. and like having that career support and whatnot. Does that
Yeah, yeah,
relate well to the counseling that you were also providing, or was it kind of a different program or a different like structure entirely?
yeah. It is a different program because like I mean, oftentimes these kids they want to come here, but they do not know about the issues, like or the problems what they may like run into. So basically, my job is to make sure like they are aware about these issues and know how to tackle them when they are here.
Hmm. Do you have a lot of touch with Nepal water issues at all? Like, do you see connections between what we deal with over here in the U.S. versus what they deal with
Like
there?
yeah, I mean, that is something that I have not, like I've not been able to relate to there at the
Hmm.
moment. Yeah.
So this career counseling that you have been doing with folks in Nepal, that
Yeah.
ties in really well with this last question, which is how to cater to the next generation of water worker. Could you tell me how would you aim to cater to the next generation of water worker? Because I get the feeling that mentorship is a big part of that, but are there other things in addition that you would like to highlight?
Yeah, you know what? I mean, this is a very tough question, right? I mean, we are already facing a major water scarcity problem, and in fact, there was a study done by UCLA in 2021, and we saw that we are facing, I mean, the California is facing a driest period in 1200 years, and this is just one example, right? I mean, you see India, you see Africa. It's the pretty much the same problem, and but people are still unaware about the issue, and they take water for granted. So, if we really want to solve the water scarcity problem, I think we need to make our future generation aware about these issues and encourage them to pursue a career in water industry. And I think to do that, in my opinion, um, I mean, it has to start from the school, right? So we need to make like a water part of the school curriculum, right?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And I feel like every young pro has specifically mentioned this. The visibility of this industry needs to be bigger. It needs
Yeah,
to be more present in schools. It needs to be more noticeable. People need to know what options exist. And then
yeah,
The other element to that, and tying this back to kind of one of your first responses, is to show the through line of how this action here resulted in this action over here. So to your
Yeah,
point of like finding satisfaction and like my solution solved this problem is
yeah,
a big thing. It can be really, really powerful, and it shows that their role was meaningful in the process as opposed to
exactly,
just being another cog in a machine and not really knowing what their purpose is, right?
exactly, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Mahesh. I
You're
just I just really enjoyed talking to you about this, and it sounds like you have a great career to look forward to as well. And for everyone who is watching, again, check out the video description below. We got playlists for all the videos to date. We also have the Q&As linked down there, and come back next week for normal video programming once more.